Previously on Superfly Reviews.
Hey y'all, can we talk about On My Block Season 4? Because what the was that? Now, On My Block is an American comedy drama series that started in 2018. The show revolves around a group of 4 plucky and impressionable teenagers as they navigate their lives throughout the gang-ridden streets of this town called Free Ridge. There's Monse, the hot-headed daughter of a single father who always seems to be at the center of all the drama that takes place within the group. Ruby, the lovable simp who spends more time in his room choking the chicken than I've been spending trying to get my degree. Jamal, who is basically what you get if Inspector Gadget was actually competent, and Caesar, whose older brother Oscar is the leader of the Santos gang. Now, there was a point not too long ago where On My Block was one of my favorite shows on Netflix, but season 3 was really where I started to feel a significant drop in quality. But what really pissed a lot of the fans off about season 3 was the way it ended. And it basically ends with Monse leaving Free Ridge to go off to this finishing school to study writing. We then go to a 1-year time jump where we see all of the characters and where they are, and they're just all in a completely different place than any of us were anticipating. The fans were outraged, online petitions started up demanding a season 4, and lo and behold, now in 2021, we got it. But I ain't gonna lie, for me, it left a lot to be desired. Now, Jamal's character arc is very fascinating because he has gone through a significant transformation since we last saw him at the end of season 3. Throughout the series, Jamal was always the quirky, weird, sleuthing kid who was always the one who was going after all the mysteries and was always kind of the dorky nerd of the group. And he was also the one who was always disrespected the most. Man, the way that they treated Jamal in the past 3 seasons has been absolutely terrible. Jamal was the one who worked so hard to find that Roller World money. He searched after it when everyone else abandoned him and didn't believe in him and said that he was crazy for believing in the Roller World money rumors. He chased after that like nobody's business. All the stuff that he went through with Chivo and the gnomes. Oh my god. He was the one who tracked down that Roller World money. He was the one who put the reps in and found that money and was willing to give it up to save Caesar from being indoctrinated into the Santos gang. But when he finally got it, the rest of the crew started acting so entitled to it, like they all found it together, which they didn't. Jamal found that money all on his own, and y'all are acting like y'all have a rightful claim to it. It's bro, if I was him, I'd be like, yo, that's my money. Sorry, Caesar, you on your own, but Jamal is a better man than I. But when we pick up with him in season 3, he's the captain of the football team, he's a star player, he's one of the most popular kids in school. Basically, we come to find out that ever since Ruby and Jasmine got together and started being a couple, Jamal really started to feel like a third wheel, especially after Caesar cut ties with the gang and joined the Santos full time, and Monse moved away out of Free Ridge and into her private school. Jamal was really starting to feel like the odd man out, and he was really starting to feel like his and Ruby's friendship was becoming more and more strained. And every single time that Jamal would have a problem with Jasmine and Ruby, he would call Monse up at her private school and basically vent to her, even though she would never answer and he would always get her voicemail. But when Monse accidentally butt dials him one time, he basically hears Monse seemingly talking about him behind his back, talking about how he's so immature and emotionally needy and how he's a whiny little kid who's always on her back, and it just completely devastates him and causes him to change everything about himself. The man legit goes full Black Air Force mode, cuts off all emotional connections and all pre-existing relationships, and becomes a machine solely dedicated toward attaining social status in high school. And he actually ends up running for class president against Ruby. And not even because he really wants to or has any interest in improving the school, but just because everybody else expects him to do it, so he might as well appease his fans. But as we find out as the season goes on, even though Jamal seems to have everything that he would think that he wants, he's still fundamentally unhappy, and none of the stuff that living the high life in high school can offer him can actually satisfy him. Like, the dude is just surrounded by yes men who will praise and agree with every single thing that he does. He is constantly bombarded by all these girls who just want to use him for his body. Like, he is constantly, like, he has no real connections. He has no real friends anymore. Which is why it's so rewarding to see Jamal push all of that nonsense aside and rekindle his friendship with Ruby. It was really touching to see them reconnect and rebond as friends, and they end up picking up right where they left off. Jamal is still as funny as ever. He's still like... Man, Brett Gray, props to him. Now, call me crazy, but I kind of feel like Jamal's character development is at least in some way connected to how much the actor who plays him, Brett Gray, has grown over the years. Because I feel like when they started filming On My Block, Brett Gray was a lot more like season 1 Jamal. Like, probably a lot more socially awkward, a lot skinnier, like a lot less confident in himself. But like, as the years progressed and as like he grew older and as like he became like a stronger version of himself, like he was more confident. Man was out here posting Instagram pics fully dripped out. He was almost unrecognizable as Jamal in real life, even though like he's a really good actor. But like... But like, yeah, now Jamal is just as fresh as Brett Gray is. Dude comes ready to serve every scene he's in. Jamal's fits in this season were immaculate. And it was also nice seeing Jamal and Jasmine being able to develop some kind of friendship, because those were really the only two characters who have never really interacted a lot over the seasons. And when they did in season 3, it was mostly in like an antagonistic role where they were like fighting over who was supposed to be the team leader. But like, now Jasmine and Jamal are just able to like really connect as people and like develop like a really endearing friendship. Like, it's really pure. The only thing that I hated about his character development this season was that they had this really weird plot where he was suddenly sexually attracted to Monse for some reason, and it was just... no. Like, I understand what they were trying to convey, because Monse was like the only girl in the school who was not like head over heels in love with him, who was not just like throwing herself at him, and Jamal was at a place in his life where he just wanted a challenge, so it made sense. But just the way that they went about it was so weird, and it felt like it came out of nowhere. Like, there's even this weird episode that opens with Monse waking up in Caesar's bed to find Jamal sleeping butt naked next to her, and like, you never find out how that even happened. You never find out how Jamal ended up sleeping with Monse. Like, they never bother to explain it. It's just this weird throwaway gag that's like, what? Speaking of Monse, her character, as usual, frustrated me a lot. And it's weird because I was really liking her in the first couple episodes of the season. I thought that the way that they were writing her character was a drastic improvement over the last couple of seasons. Mostly because she wasn't just spending all of her time being fixated on Caesar. Like, you don't even see her for the first couple episodes until she moves back in with her parents for the Christmas party between all of the parents of the On My Block kids. And seeing her have to reacclimate to life in Free Ridge without Caesar was really interesting. Like, seeing her reconnect with Jasmine, seeing like the newfound animosity between her and Jamal that she knows absolutely nothing about, because we find out that like she wasn't even talking about Jamal when she accidentally butt dialed her. She was talking about her science teacher or something, which I'm not entirely sure if I buy that. That seems awfully convenient, but I guess I'm gonna take your word for it, Monse. And I really found the parts of her family life that we got to see really intriguing. Like the way that like her dad now has a new girlfriend, or like I guess wife, who like he's been seeing for a while, who like Monse really warms up to really easily, and like how unfortunately, in like halfway through season 3, Monse's mom, who like abandoned her when she was really, really young, who had like lots of mental issues, ended up actually taking her own life in season 3. But she actually ends up having a really great relationship with her wife's new husband, who she left behind, and her 2 kids. And like, it's just really heartwarming how much like Monse's stepfather actually like cares about her. Like, you could tell that he's not just like letting her stay and letting her hang out with the kids just out of like guilt or anything. Like, he legitimately cares about her, and like, it's really, really cool to see. But it's still a really sticky situation, because before Monse's mom died, she was telling everybody that the reason why she left Monse's dad was because that he was abusive toward her, when really it was just because she was running away from the responsibility of being a mother. But understandably so, Monse's stepdad still believes the lies that Monse's mom told him. So like, the second that Monse lets it slip that she's having some issues with her dad, that like her and her dad are having some kind of argument, he immediately goes to, oh, is he hurting you? Oh, is he doing something? If we could call Child Protective Services right now. And it's like, dude, no. Like, she tells him straight up, he's like, he never laid a hand on me. You've been lied to, dude. It's a really tough situation, because like, nobody is like explicitly in the wrong except for Monse's mom, who told him the lie in the first place. But when Monse finally gets the courage to read her mother's manuscript after all the years that it's been sitting around in her room, she gains a new perspective on her mother's life, and she's able to bring the 2 sides of her family together to reconcile. And it was really a rewarding experience to watch. But man, everything else Monse did this season had me gritting my teeth, bro. One of my major problems with Monse's character, ever since like the beginning of season 1, was that her character motivation was always in some way tied to Caesar. It's always, oh, we gotta save Caesar. I gotta save Caesar from the gang. I gotta save Caesar from being homeless. I gotta save Caesar. I gotta save Caesar. I gotta save him. I gotta save him because like no one else will. He's the only one. Like, and their relationship is so unbearably toxic. And it's understandable, because they're all in high school, and we've all had toxic relationships in high school. Who hasn't? But that doesn't make it any less frustrating to watch. And the relationship has always felt so one-sided, because we have seen Caesar with multiple other love interests throughout the On My Block series. But Monse never ever gets with anybody else. And I get that some people are just built differently than others. Not everybody's relationships are gonna be the same. But it's that kind of inequity in their relationship that makes it really hard for me to root for them. Like, she spends all of her time, energy, and effort in trying to save Caesar from himself. But it gets to a point where it's like, girl, you gotta let Caesar save Caesar, aight? You can only do so much, and you can't change him. No matter how hard you try, you cannot change him. But for the first 3 seasons, she never seems to learn that lesson. That is, until we pick up with her in season 4, where we basically find out that she has left Caesar behind and is now just doing her own thing, to which that, I was like, yes, good for you. You go do your thing. You go leave that man behind. Come to find out through flashbacks that the reason why Monse and Caesar broke up this time around is that she was actually in the car when Caesar had to go beat somebody down for the Santos gang. And she witnesses firsthand as he is making short work of this dude. Like, he is like taking this dude to Pound Town right in front of her. And it's like a really traumatic experience for her, because now she's an accessory to assault and battery. Like, he's gonna turn her into a criminal. And when she breaks up with him and says that she's gonna leave him, Caesar actually grabs her phone and breaks it. And it's at that moment where she sees Caesar for what he really is. So from that moment on, she's just like, nah, I ain't dealing with you. I'm out of here. Like, I'm out. And I'm like, yes. And I was really excited for Monse to get some serious character development apart from this doofus, where like she could actually like grow into her own and like become her own person and like learn to discover her own self-worth. But nope. Now, while I will admit that it took a lot longer than I was expecting for it to happen, of course, there comes a point in the season where Monse and Caesar start locking lips again, and I'm just like, no, you were doing so well. You didn't need to go back into this damn Monse Caesar will they, won't they, well. You didn't have to do it. But, And then there's this whole subplot where Caesar's new girlfriend, Vero, resents Monse because she knows that Caesar has always been in love with Monse, and she knows that she will never be able to measure up to her. So, like, they have this, like, really, really stupid rivalry over this dude who ain't it does nobody any favors. Nobody comes out looking good after that. There even comes a point where they start fighting over this dude, and it's like, no! You can do better! You both can do better! Like, they both humiliate themselves fighting over this dude who has done nothing but be a complete asshole the entire season. Because at the time, I didn't know that it was going to be that kind of show. Whoa. Did y'all see that? Like, legit, like, I flung my finger, and, like, the ring flew off my finger, and, like, I caught it in my other, like, you had to be there. It was amazing. You had to be there.